Whenever the Walt Disney Company needs to boost the stock price, they make an announcement about streaming. And this time, they have announced their new streaming service, which is a joint venture with several other studios, will be $43 a month. And that is just the starting price. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place. And here with me is a human person, Mr. Vash Sky. Vash, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm just going and checking my sports streaming apps and my options that I have available to me, and oh my goodness gracious, this is Jonas. What happened? Why so expensive?
Let's talk about that here. The price of the ESPN, Fox, and WBD streaming bundle Venue Sports is revealed. Well, you've already heard the price from us, but maybe if we read it from here, you'll believe us. By Dade Hayes. Venue Sports, the streaming joint venture of Disney, ESPN, Fox Corporation, and Warner Brothers Discovery, will cost $42.99 a month. Emphasis here being placed by me, when it launches in the fall. Price is at the top end of the streaming market, but is consistent with Venue's proposition to bring linear feeds of 14 sports-centric networks to consumers without a full pay TV subscription. Most Wall Street analysts and streaming pundits projected the price would likely be in the $40 to $50 a monthly range. Vash, how much do you pay for sports right now? Just out of curiosity.
Pretty much nothing. I wouldn't say I'm a huge sports fan, but I am a big football fan, and I just can't see myself at all paying this much for just about any service out there. This is what, I guess this is the introductory price. Might go up as high as what, like $50 or something. I mean, this is absolutely outrageous. This is crazy. But we did hear indications that they were going to be pricing this one pretty high. I think the early word on the street was maybe 30, 35 or something like that. I know KMG actually has been following this quite closely, and he brought up a great point. It's like, look, listen, if you have, I think the CEO of Venue said that they expect, 5 million within the first 5 years or something like that.
5 million subscribers within 5 years. So
right.
I'm going to say something that is very revealing when we talk about something like this. And you're correct, of course, on that 5 million subscriber projection here. Fox Corps' Lachlan Murdoch, the guy who owned Fox before most of it was sold to Disney, has said his company sees Venue as complementary to the main pay TV bundle, with internal forecasts calling for 5 million subscribers in the first 5 years. So just doing some quick math here, $43 a month times 12 months times 5 million subscribers. That would be 2.58 billion there. But of course, this is a streaming service that is split between 3 separate studios. So let's say they got an even share apiece. We're talking about 860 million per studio here for this joint venture.
That doesn't cover at all the costs associated with the with having these sports rights in the first place. We know that the leagues like the NBA and the NFL, for example, are asking huge multi-billion-dollar figures per year for the opportunity to broadcast their games and so forth and broadcast their sports. This doesn't at all pay for that. So I think we all kind of understood it was like, whoa, if you're only getting 5 million for the first 5 years, and I do apologize, I didn't mean to step on that part of the story.
No, you're fine.
I mean, we knew that it was like, look, that the math doesn't make sense unless it's a high figure. And honestly, I don't even think it's high enough.
I think you're probably right. Also, there's the other issue here of this is not the same thing as ESPN DTC, whatever that ends up being called, which sounds like it's going to be called ESPN Flagship, because ESPN Flagship right now, you would assume that's the linear channel or channels, because it's actually a collection of, I think, 10 channels right now. You would think that would be called ESPN, and ESPN has an app where sometimes you can watch some of the stuff. They're talking about a standalone ESPN, which is not the same as ESPN Plus, which sounds like that's going to die. So we now have Venue Sports, which everyone was calling the ESPN JV. We have ESPN The Channels. Then we have ESPN app, which is not the same as ESPN Plus. Then those got, wait, did I add in another one? DTC in there. There's also something that's going to be added to Disney Plus that's called ESPN Lite, which is not quite ESPN Plus here. So this is getting very confusing, and not in the same way that there was HBO Go and HBO Max and HBO The Channel. this is something that I don't really understand what exactly is the strategy here, or if there is a strategy. This is something that could eventually make money. They're going to have to make that money on ad sales, of course. Vash, did you have something you wanted to add there?
Well, no, yeah, they're going to have to make their money on ad sales, but they're going to have to ad sale it up because we're talking about a huge deficit here if, in fact, they don't actually get that. But here's the other thing, Jonas. It gets even more confusing for consumers and anti-consumer when you think about to use a football term here, the gaps in coverage. We know that the Warner Brothers and some of these partners as part of this JV, they don't have all the games in which to provide consumers. So you buy in at a huge price tag, introductory price tag of $42.99. Then you don't even get everything that you are seemingly wanting to pay for.
Right. And we've got an extra wrinkle to throw in here because that $43 a month price tag that they're talking about, we're going to blow your mind on that here in just a few moments. I just want to point out, Vash, what you just said is perfectly stated because, or you could just pay for a service like Fubo or a service like YouTube TV, which is $73 a month. So we're talking about a $30 a month difference, and you don't have to think about where all of because you will have to buy something else anyways if you are wanting to watch all the games. And if they're looking at this over here and saying, well, if it's a $20 difference, we're already at $63. Why don't I just make it $73? And then I can have everything else that comes with a traditional TV model at this point. I don't understand exactly what the business case is here. This was, of course, something that was announced on the Disney earnings call about the time that they were fighting with Nelson Peltz to try to boost the stock price. I don't know that it boosted it enough. And it was along with the $1.5 billion investment in Epic Games, the purchase of the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, and there were some other things in there that they were trying to announce to say, no, we're doing things at the company. But this is so questionable, not counting the regulatory questions that come up, because the Department of Justice wants to know what in the world is going on here. When several large companies in the same market work together to come up with a singular price, that can sound like several companies coming in together to set prices for the market, which in America, we call that an oligopoly, and south of the border, we would call that a cartel. That is that I don't understand how this is not talked about in the way that it should be talked about, in my opinion. Vash, will you be getting Venue Sports when it comes out?
No, not at all. Yeah, look, here's the thing, Jonas. You might as well just go with a normal cable subscription at this point, because I think one of the aspects about this Venue Sports streaming service is that that's what it is, folks. It's just streaming. I don't think you could get any replay abilities with this. So the conveniences that would normally come with streaming aren't necessarily included with this specific service. So at the end of the day, you might as well get just a cable service that includes maybe phone access, for example. I mean, I have to agree with you, Jonas. I don't see the business case here at all. And as a consumer, as a fledgling sports enthusiast, I know I've talked to a couple of my friends who are more sports enthusiastic than I am. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm entirely confused, and it's way, way too much money.
Well, speaking of that, there's somebody that I always like to go to when I have any questions about sports streaming and the movements in sports contracts. Alex Sherman over from CNBC covers all of this stuff in great detail. He's also been the best one to go to for Paramount and whatever is going on between Paramount, Skydance, and a third party that keeps popping up over and over and over again, changing names each time. Here we go. We have a price for Venue Sports, the streaming service JV co-owned by Fox, Disney, and Warner Brothers Discovery. $42.99 a month. You can lock it in for 12 months if you buy up until launch. A pretty strong signal the price will be going up sooner rather than later. So they want more than $43 a month for this streaming service. I don't see the business case here. I'm not a fan of sports, so I'm looking at this agnostically. I really don't understand why someone would buy this instead of just going over to YouTube TV. And I'm also hearing that people will just split their YouTube TV subscription for, if it's $73, then it would be something like $35, $36 a month to just have two people sign into a YouTube TV account. Not that I'm encouraging that kind of thing. or just go over to a friend's house and watch it. I don't know. I want to throw this to our listeners, followers, whatever you want to call this here, the people who like to talk about what we say here in the comment section. What do you think about Venue Sports? Is there something we're missing here? Is there an appeal that we have failed to capture in this video here? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.